Today we're looking at tables in Microsoft Access. So I have Microsoft Access open right here. So we're going to be using the blank database to do this. So double click your database. First thing you do, you make sure you know where you save in your database. By default, Microsoft saves in the OneDrive, but I don't want it to have a own desktop. I'm going to save on the desktop. We're going to call this test database. Okay, test database. Click create. Now by default, Microsoft Access creates one table for you. So we're going to leave this table here, but the objective of this video is to show you how to create and edit a table in Microsoft Access. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to X this out and we're going to create a table. Now to create a table, you go to create. You can either use tables or table design. So we're going to use table design first to show you. In table design, we're going to enter a field name. The field name will be the name of the column. We're going to choose a data type for it. The data type will let us know what kind of information is saved in that column, and we're going to create a short description for it. So our first field name will be user ID. We're going to have that as an auto number. The data type, the description will be identification of each user. So then we're going to put first name, and we're going to use short text. Obviously that's the first name of user, last name, same short text. We'll leave the description for later. Let's put date of birth. We'll choose date for that. And last but not least, let's go email address. We'll leave that as short text. Now, if you're wondering, at the bottom down here we have the field properties. So the field properties lets you know, define further your field names or your fields. So for short text, each data type have different properties. For example, for short text, you'll have the field size, the format, if you have a specific format you want to put, your input mask, a caption for that field. If you have a default value on there, something that will appear automatically. If you have any validation rules, validation text, if you would allow zero length, mean to say it is going to be blank, and you have more as it goes on. So to save, you can either click the save button here, or you can right click and click save. Either one will do. You must give your table a name, so let's put that as user info. Click OK. We did not put a primary key. I think we should do a primary key, so let's cancel this. We'll put a primary key. We'll put user ID as our primary key. In this video, we assume that certain things that users already know about data types, and at least the primary and secondary keys found in Microsoft Access, well, in databases. So to make a primary key, you select the field that you want. So username, user ID would be our primary key field. You click primary key, and then we save. We'll call the user info. Click OK. So if to change the view, what we have there is the design view. You go to view and click datasheet view. From here, you can enter information for the user. So that's how to create a table using the design view concept. Next, we'll duplicate that table, but we're going to be using the table style. So again, create, you choose table, and this is the original one that we got when we opened our database for the first time. So by default, it gives us an ID. The ID would be your primary field. You can change the data type of your primary key field from the ribbon. So as you data type, you see we have it as auto number, so that will put a number for us automatically. So for us to add information, remember we had first name, last name, date of birth, and email address. So you click in a field, you choose the data type, and you change from field one to the name that you want. So the first one we had was first name. So text, last name, date. So that'll be date of birth. And our last one again was email address. Now, just like your design view, you can make some changes to it. If you have, you can change the field size, put a default value, a caption for the field. If you want it to be unique or indexed, if you want to do validation rules, all that can be done from the ribbon right here. Or from here, you can go to your design view to make those changes if you want. So before we can move on, we have to save our table. Again, you can either press the save button here, or you can just right click and click save. And that you enter the name. Let's call this user info 2. No two tables can have the same name. It will prevent you. You'll be either overwriting one, or it will prevent you from saving with that name. You'll get an error letting you know that your table already has that name. And that is the two ways to create a table. Now we're going to show how to import a table from Microsoft Excel into Microsoft Access. Before we do this, the first thing you have to do is prepare the table of information that you want to import. So let's open our Excel file. So we want to import the aid per sector table, but we do not want aid per sector and this area, well, from this area going down. So if we just do a regular import, it's going to take all of this and all of this, and then we will have to be left with deleting rows and columns for our Microsoft Access table. To prepare a table, first thing you do, you select the information that you want, and you create what is known as a name range. So the easiest way, you look into the name box and you give your selection a name. So let's call it aid1. The name must have no spaces in between or a link to a cell within our Excel. As you can see, the error on my part here. So we're going to highlight again, and we're going to call this cell aid, just aid. So if we come here and we click aid, we're going to have just this information highlighted. Now you're not done yet. You have to save changes made to your Excel file. With these changes saved, you now come to your access. You go to external data. For persons using different versions, it's the same. You look to the import link and you look for the Excel area in the import. It's going to bring up this window. You have options as to what type of import you want to do. Import the source data into a new table, append a copy of records to an existing table, or link the data source by creating a linked table. But for us, we want to import it into a new table, so we leave the default option as is. We're going to browse to our table location. You browse to the Excel document that has the Excel document that you made the changes to. Click on it, click open, then click OK. Open. Okay, so from here, you can either go through the work, you can show worksheets and just choose a worksheet, that's it. But for us, we want to show name ranges and we want to use aid. Aid would have the information that we need. You click next. Make sure first row contain headers. As you can see, the first row is the headers for our table. Click next. So from here you can organize each row, each column. So organization name, believe that's short text, agriculture, currency, and you move on to make sure each one has the data type that you want. And for us, by default, it seems everything is correct. We have no changes that we have to make. And then we click next. It then asks us to create a primary key or no primary key. For this table, we're going to create a primary key. So we're going to let's add primary key. Leave that and make it leave default numbers for our primary key. Click next. We're going to call our table input setter and click finish. We're not going to save the steps. And if we open our table, we will see our primary key, our organization names, and our table has been created perfectly for us. If we want to edit our table, we can go to design view, and from here we can add our options and edit our table as we see fit. Thank you for watching.